Zach.
And I'm Lindsay.
And we're the Game Forum, and this is our first impressions on Stranded Deep for the PS4.
As usual with our first impressions, we only get to play the game for 2 hours, and we can't talk to each other about it until this video.
So what do you think?
So I was pretty interested to see what this game was like. It seemed a cool concept. Once I got in, I felt like the controls were a little clunky for me.
Yeah.
Like trying to go through and craft things, it didn't really feel natural, I guess. And the confusion of like when you craft a thing from the materials, like it wouldn't always just put it into your backpack. It's like it would not have a spot to put it, and you would have to like drop it. And that kind of confused me a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I finally figured out what it was getting around to. You have your backpack, which has spaces. What is in your hand is not an inventory space in your backpack. And I crafted a tool belt for quick access, but that did not count as to what was in my hand or in my backpack.
No, it was just like extra like quick access type stuff. And I thought that was odd.
Yeah, there was one time where I ended up picking something up and I didn't realize it made me drop my knife. And then I went to go use my knife. I'm like, where is it? And I had to like go around the island for a second, and I found it. It was like next to I think I picked up a coconut or something. That's where it went. But so that was a little weird. It took me a little while to get the hang of how that worked.
Like, I don't know, maybe like after an hour of playing, my jump button stopped working. Like,
really?
It would just, I would not jump, and like no matter what, and it was so annoying because if you've noticed, when like you hit a rock, like the tiniest rocks, and it stops you, and so I'm having to like constantly like readjust and move around, and like when I knock down a tree, I can't jump over that tree. I have to walk around that tree at that time. And then I had to like close application, join back in, and then it was working fine. But I don't know what the heck that was.
Yeah, it's definitely a little buggy. Like there was a couple of times where I'd be climbing down a tree, and then I would just stop, and it would make it think like my character was on land. Like I was walking, I wasn't climbing anymore. But I wasn't on the ground. I was still stuck on the tree, and I like had to jump down to the ground.
Yeah, that's weird. It's I don't like the graphics were very like hard on my eyes too. Like looking far away, like the
other islands and stuff in the background.
Yeah, like it was just.
It's definitely not a AAA game. It's definitely got some bugginess to it. It's definitely not great graphically. One thing that really irritated me, especially in the beginning, is not every tree you can harvest. Like, there's some in there that are in there just for looks. Which is kind of annoying. And then they have bushes in there that are just for looks. But some of like the small trees like spawn in those bushes. And so it makes it really hard to find stuff sometimes. Like there's so much crap in the way.
Yeah, and the young pine tree or no young palm trees.
Yeah,
like I couldn't find those to get the fibrous or whatever it was called, the
fibers,
leaves, fibrous. To like it was in like the crafting is pretty atrocious because it was like, what do I need again? Okay. So I had like if I wanted to craft a shelter, I had to go look at the lashing. Like, well, I don't remember what it was to make a lashing, so I had to go look at what a lashing was, and then I had to like, okay, well, what are the ingredients? Because it's not telling me.
Yeah,
unless you press square. But
you can look at square to look at it. And one thing I did a lot was you can click R3 and it'll like pin it up to the left corner so you can see. But I really wish it kind of had like maybe a smaller breakdown of some of the other stuff. Because
Yeah.
I'd look at it and be like, okay, I need 4 of those, but those are also made of something else, and now I can't remember what it was to make those. And I
Yeah.
mean, I guess a lot of that would go away with playing it with a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Um, but I do have to say though, like once I started playing the game, about an hour after I got into it, I started enjoying it a little more once I got used to what was going on.
Yeah.
But it is a bit harsh, like starting off, because it is a bit glitchy. Like you're not used to like what you need to make anything, and you're constantly having to like find food and shelter and water and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I felt it was really like you had to find things quickly. And I know the coconut water that you kind of start off with getting doesn't really do much, which is realistic. If you drink a lot of coconut water, you get dehydrated.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I did, but I got like massive diarrhea to where like every 15 seconds my character would stop and like I guess poop. And but it was like it was very funny, but it was also like I'm losing like food and water insanely fast. And
Well,
so
one thing that kind of irritated me, and this might be what happened to you, is I
yeah,
made like a fire, and I was cooking like a crab that I had killed on the fire,
yeah,
and there's no like loading bar, or it doesn't change color or anything to show if it's been cooked or not.
yeah.
So like I left it on the fire for a little bit, and I'm like, is it done? And I took it off and ate it, and then my screen turned like green, and I threw up, and I lost a lot of food and water. And I'm like, no. I'm like, how do I tell if it's finished?
Yeah.
Uh, so I left it on there for a bit, and then came back and ate it, and it was fine. And then I was kind of curious. I left one on there for a bit and came back and I grabbed it and I had another one in my inventory. So I put it back into my inventory, and instead of making a spot that says like, meat, cooked meat, it just put
Yeah.
it back with the other one and just said meat. And I'm like, does that mean it's not cooked anymore? What? How do I tell which one is the cooked one and which one isn't the cooked one?
Yeah. I don't
So
know.
that was kind of annoying. And I guess getting into some of the crafting stuff in it too, like the fire pit thing was kind of weird because you have to like craft a fire pit, and then you have to add wood to it, and then you
Yeah.
have to use tinder to start it, which was cool. But I'm like, that's a lot of steps for just making a fire.
Hold on.
But and I couldn't quite tell like how some of their systems and stuff like worked with some of these things. One thing I really did not like is I was crafting a wall, and
Yeah.
I was using the hammer, and I guess the um, hammer ran out of its integrity and
Yeah.
disappeared. But instead of just me having a blank hand, it automatically equipped the next thing, which happened to be the axe for me. So then I immediately destroyed the wall I was trying to finish building. I'm like, whoa, what just happened? I'm like,
uh,
it needs to have something come up and be like, hammer has lost all integrity or hammer is broken or whatever, and then just leave you with a blank hand, not
yeah.
just equip the very next thing in your inventory slot.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
thought that was a poor design choice.
Yeah. Did you happen to get in the raft and go to another island?
I did not. I ended up building a house and trying to make some more sustainable stuff on this island.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
So I actually researched. I guess that is a big thing. We probably had very different experiences based on what we did.
Yeah.
So I researched several different things. Like I made a tool belt, I made an axe and a hammer, and I started building like a little house on the beach, and I made like a fire pit with some stones around it and a bigger cooking thing so I could cook stuff faster. And I made something that catches birds and kills them for me so I could like just go over there and grab the meat.
Oh, cool.
And there was an automatic water gathering thing, but I needed a plastic tarp. And right as my time was running out, I found another plastic tarp. So I was just about to make a thing that would collect water for me too. So effectively, that island would be able to provide me with a home base and have water and food pretty much ready for me all the time.
Huh. That's
And
cool.
yeah, so then I was going to actually start building a raft. Because apparently you can build pretty big stuff.
So the raft that comes with, like, that kind of pops up near the island that you can pull ashore, it has a whole bunch of stuff in it.
Yes.
And so, like, I was using that, but then, like, I got in the raft and then paddled all the way to another island. But before that, there's like a wrecked oil rig near the starter island. Did you have that?
I had like a wrecked ship next to mine.
That might have been it. Yeah, I think it was a ship, but I for some reason it looked like the top part of it was like an oil rig that might have had like sunken. But yeah, I think it was a ship. I went in there and explored a little bit, and there was like a lot of cool stuff. And there was like engine parts, like helicopter parts. There was like stuff that you can see or realize that that's like the end game stuff. You know, you want to craft something to get out of there. It was like right there in the starter island, like wherever you first started. There was parts for building like bigger boats or building bigger helicopters or stuff to get out of there. I thought that was a little odd.
No, it was pretty cool. I could definitely tell there's a deeper crafting system to this because there's a lot of stuff you can do for building like a house, like building like a raft.
Yeah.
Like you can make a motor and put on your raft, and you can put sails on it, and you can put like some stuff to help steer it. Like you can make like a pretty big raft.
Yeah. I'm definitely. I don't know when, but I do want to go back and play it. Just like sit down and like actually like pay attention to what I'm doing. I don't know. It's like it's good, but I don't know if it's good because it's the first type of this game that I've played in a long time, or if it's like actually pretty decent. I know it's really in depth about like the crafting and like how you have to drop the coconut and hit it for it to be drinkable. Which I mean, stuff like that's kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I definitely like the feel to this game. Like it has a lot of depth to it. I really wish the game had a little bit more polish to it, but for $20, I think that's about the right price for this game. If this was a $60 game, I would say no, but for $20, I feel like that's fair.
Yeah. It doesn't feel very optimized. One issue I have though is that this game came out on Steam years ago. And so either the game was designed poorly or it was just a bad port. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But on Steam, my brother played it and he had no issues with like it being optimized or like the graphics being bad. And of course, that's on PC. So I don't know.
It's also if it's a game several years old, it just seems to me like the graphics are about as good as like an old PlayStation 3 game. It doesn't feel like it's a current gen experience.
Yeah.
And even the initial opening scene when you're in the airplane looking around, like it seems kind of blank. Like a lot of the textures aren't very well done. A lot of it just seems kind of empty. And I get it's a smaller developer and they're doing the best they can. It's nothing against them. It's just kind of how I feel from playing the game.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's definitely not pretty to look at, but it's also not like the most disgusting game. It's not like so bad.
So I guess in your experience then, what all stuff did you end up crafting in the game? Like, did you make a house? Did you make a raft? Or
I crafted the fire pit and the shelter and then a hook to capture fish. But then I was like, well, I only got like 45 minutes left, so I hopped on the raft and then went to another island just to see if there was anything different. I went to two different islands and they're pretty much the same thing. There's some different trees, different plants.
Are they all about the same size, or what did you think about that?
The two that I went to were about the same size, but by the third island I went to, I could see what looked like a much bigger island that I could go to, but I had run out of time before I actually like got in the raft and traveled there. I found binoculars, so I was
That's
able
cool.
to to look far away. And there was one island that I'm not sure if it was a glitch or not, but it looked like there was five giant rock pillars. That looked kind of creepy, but I'm almost positive it was just a bad graphic. Like that was really a tree, but it was just it was just blown out to look like something that it completely wasn't. But I don't know. I still have that save, and so I want to go to the island. I'll probably do that tonight.
Yeah. No, like I said, I ended up pretty much just staying on the main island, and I wanted to focus on like the depths of what you could craft and what you could really do with everything.
Yeah.
What I'll probably end up doing in my playthroughs will be building like essentially the biggest raft that I can.
Yeah.
And going to different islands and essentially gathering up all the resources and making bigger and bigger raft, and essentially have like my own tiny houseboat or something, I guess, is what I'm going to be shooting for.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, you go, you do you. I definitely want to keep playing this game.
Yeah, no, I think for $20, it's well worth it and well within its price target.
Yeah, I do agree. $20 isn't really that bad, and you can get plenty of enjoyment out of it for $20. It's just if you're okay with putting up the wonky controls and the outdated graphics. But other than that, it's still a pretty solid like survival game.
Yeah, and like I said, the controls were strange at first, and they're still a little awkward. But as you play the game more, I felt myself getting more used to like what it wanted me to do.
Yeah, yeah. It took some time. It took me a minute to get used to like tapping L1 to bring your like the weapon wheel type thing, and then holding it down brought the tool belt. So
Mm-hmm.
that took some time to get used to. But I don't know. I think this with a survival crafting game like this, it needs more than just 2 hours. That's kind of
Yeah.
like the start for a game like this.
No, I definitely agree. It's a bit limited because it's supposed to be a more longer
Yeah.
scale endurance style game.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if we put in like another 5 to 10 hours and where we're at.
Yeah. So I guess overall, then, what would you think about this game, and would you recommend it?
Uh I mean, it was fun. The 2 hours that I played, I haven't played very many survival games. The few that I played that come to mind that I enjoyed were like 7 Days to Die and Savage Lands. Those were both on PC. Uh, those ran better and had comparable graphics, but for Stranded Deep on console, I believe the only other game like this is The Forest, and that doesn't get a lot of praise either. So, and I think that's a cheaper, maybe cheaper game. I'm not sure, and it has co-op too. But
Ah,
with Stranded Deep, I kind of like the idea of it being on an island. It is very pretty when the sun rises.
yes.
Uh, I wonder what you can craft and like how you can craft it and how you can go to other islands and like you kind of build like an ecosystem that you can travel to. And I really enjoyed that. So I mean, if you got $20 to spend and you're staying at home with what's going on right now, this would be a fun like getaway. Ironically, to keep you occupied, and it's very micromanagement focused, and so I would recommend it then. But if you are turned off by terrible graphics, bad controls, or just clunky menu systems, then yeah, just go ahead and stay away, even for the $20 price tag.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you on pretty much all of that. I had fun with it. I definitely enjoyed it. I feel like I'm going to get $20 worth out of this game. I'm
Yeah,
gonna probably keep playing it for a bit,
yeah,
but I do have to say its graphics are definitely not at the standard for the PlayStation 4 right now, and its menu system and controls are a bit clunky. I don't think it was ported very well. Any other thoughts, Zach?
No, I think that's about it.
All right. Tell us what you think about this game in the comments below. And until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.